Ohio Bigfoot Girl. The Ohio Bigfoot Girl was actually Fanny Mills, a British-American woman who lived in the late 19th century. She had a medical condition called Milroy's disease, which caused her lower legs and feet to swell disproportionately large. Life for those with disabilities in the 1800s wasn't easy, and Fanny found it difficult to find regular employment. In 1885, she decided to capitalize on her unique appearance and began exhibiting herself in dime museums, which were a popular form of entertainment at the time. These dime museums often featured people with unusual physical attributes or talents. Lobster Boy. Grady Stiles Jr., known by his stage name Lobster Boy, was a complex figure. Born with ectrodactyly, a condition that gave his hands and feet a claw-like appearance, Stiles found a place in the world of sideshows. While some reports suggest a family history of the disorder, this hasn't been definitively proven. His life was marred by personal struggles, including alcoholism. Tragedy struck when he was accused of murdering a family member, though Stiles maintained it was self-defense. The case highlighted the darker side of his life, leaving a legacy that's both captivating and disturbing. The Great Lentini. Frank Lentini's story is fascinating. Born with a parasitic twin, he had the remarkable anomaly of a third leg. This unique physical characteristic led him to a life in the spotlight. After his family immigrated to the United States from Italy, Lentini embraced the world of entertainment. By taking on the stage name The Great Lentini, he entered the big leagues, joining the prestigious Ringling Brothers Circus. The year 1914 is interesting. It could be the year Lentini joined the Ringling Brothers, or perhaps it marked a particularly noteworthy moment in his career with the circus. Do you have any further information about 1914 and Lentini? Human Owl. Martin Lorello, the Human Owl, was a Coney Island sideshow star who could contort his neck a full 180 degrees. This incredible ability no doubt left audiences awestruck. While details about his career are scarce, we know he performed at Sam Wagner's Freak Show, a popular form of entertainment in the early 20th century. The year 1938 might have been a time of particular success for Lorello, perhaps marking his arrival at Sam Wagner's show or a high point in his career. It could also be relevant to consider the historical context of 1938, as the Great Depression was still impacting the country, potentially making people more receptive to the escape offered by sideshow entertainment. Mirin Dejo. Mirin Dejo, a performer in the 1940s, defied expectations. He rose to fame for allowing his body to be pierced with incredible objects, from swords to skewers, without suffering any apparent harm. This ability baffled the medical community, who examined him extensively. However, Dejo's daring acts took a tragic turn. His career, built on pushing boundaries, ultimately led to his demise. In a fatal miscalculation, he swallowed a metal object, likely a needle, which tragically caused internal injuries and led to his death. This incident serves as a stark reminder of the risks involved in such extreme performances. Snapped off at the waist. Born in 1911, he actually had a lower torso, but due to a condition called sacral agenesis, it was severely underdeveloped. He often described himself as snapped off at the waist, but in reality, he had unusable legs and feet that were hidden by clothing. Despite this physical challenge, Eck found a place in the entertainment world. It marked his appearance in Todd Browning's controversial film, Freaks. This cult classic explored themes of difference and acceptance, and Eck's portrayal challenged societal perceptions of disability. While the film itself was met with mixed reactions, it helped launch Eck's career as a performer. Two-headed Mexican. Pascual Piñon, exploited for a benign growth on his head, became a sideshow curiosity known as the Two-Headed Mexican. He toured the United States in the early 1900s, likely crafting a persona around this physical anomaly. the year 1917 might mark a specific point in his career. Perhaps it was a time of peak popularity for Pignon, or maybe it's when he began using a more elaborate costume, like a wax face on the growth, to further enhance his act. It's also worth considering the historical context of 1917. With the United States entering World War I, public interest in sideshow entertainment might have surged as a form of escapism during a turbulent time. Jack Earl. Jack Earl's height, a result of acromegalic gigantism, was both a challenge and a chance. Standing at an impressive 7 feet and 7 inches, he found himself in the world of the Ringling Bros and Barnum and Bailey Circus. For 14 years, he captivated audiences as part of this iconic show. However, by 1930, his life took a new turn. Regardless, 1930 saw Earl step out of the spotlight and into the world of sales. His remarkable height, once a marvel on the circus stage, could have become an asset in the sales world, making him a memorable figure to potential customers. Siamese twins. Chang and Eng Bunker were initially exhibited as Siamese twins in the early 1800s. This fell under the category of freak shows or curiosity acts, which were popular forms of entertainment at the time that exploited people with unusual physical characteristics. However, their story goes beyond that label. After a few years, they broke free from this mold and built a life for themselves outside the circus. They married, had children, and became successful farmers. Their story highlights the complex experiences of people with disabilities in that era. Elephant Man. Joseph Merrick, the Elephant Man, had a tough life. Born with a mysterious condition that made him look different, his family cast him out. He ended up in freak shows, a sad form of entertainment back then. In 1889, things might have changed for him. Maybe that's when he met a kind doctor who took him to a hospital. This could have been a big improvement over the freak shows. Even though his life was hard, there were still good people who cared. Living human skeleton. Isaac Sprague, the living human skeleton, got sick at 12 and kept losing weight despite eating a lot. No doctor knew why. By 1866, things might have been especially bad for him. Maybe it was when freak shows exploited him the most. Or maybe it's when he desperately tried to see a doctor who could help. His sad story shows how little doctors knew back then, and how some people took advantage of others' differences. Black Albino. George and Willie Muse's story is one of exploitation and resilience. Born black and albino in the segregated South during the Jim Crow era, they faced immense challenges from the very beginning. The tragedy struck in the 1890s, not the 1920s. They were kidnapped as children, likely around the ages of 6 and 9, and forced into a life they never chose. Their unique appearance, due to albinism, was exploited by a cruel showman. They were told to grow their hair long and presented as exotic beings from Mars in freak shows. The 1920s could represent a specific point in their time with the circus, perhaps a period of peak notoriety or hardship. Four-legged girl from Texas. Myrtle Corbin, the four-legged girl from Texas, defied expectations. Born in 1868 with a rare condition called dipygus, she had 2 sets of legs. Despite this physical anomaly, Myrtle carved out a multifaceted life. 1882 might mark the year she entered the world of sideshows, a common path for those with disabilities at the time. This could have been when she began captivating audiences, or when a specific publicity campaign propelled her into the spotlight. The sideshow circuit, though exploitative, offered Myrtle a platform and financial security. She reportedly even married and had children. Madame Gustica. Madame Gustica's story is complex and highlights the exploitation that existed in early 20th century circus sideshows. It is believed that Madame Gustica was likely from Ethiopia, where some ethnic groups practiced lip stretching as a cultural tradition. This tradition involved inserting progressively larger plates into the lower lip to elongate it. While lip stretching may have been a normal part of her culture, Madame Gustica was taken advantage of by being exhibited in a circus sideshow as a freak. Her cultural practice was sensationalized and exploited for profit. Coo-Coo the Bird Girl. Minnie Woolsey, the woman audiences knew as Coo-Coo the Bird Girl, lived a life marked by both challenge and performance. Born with Seckel syndrome, an uncommon disorder affecting growth and facial features, she faced physical and mental limitations. Despite these hurdles, Minnie found a place in the world of sideshows. Starting with the stage name Minnie Ha-Ha, she later gained fame as Coo-Coo and traveled with various shows. Her most notable appearance came in the 1932 film Freaks. Congress of Freaks. The Ringling Brothers' Congress of Freaks was a controversial exhibit that showcased people with unusual physical attributes. A group portrait from 1924 captures some of the performers who were part of this show. The term freak is considered insensitive today, but it was widely used in the early 20th century to describe people with disabilities or other physical differences. The Congress of Freaks capitalized on public curiosity about these individuals, and some performers may have felt they had few other options to make a living. However, the exhibit also exploited these performers. They were often presented in a sensationalized way, with little regard for their individuality or talents. The focus was on their physical differences rather than their skills or accomplishments. The Bearded Woman. Annie Jones, a woman best known for her full beard, became a prominent figure in P.T. Barnum's exhibitions. Born with a condition causing excessive hair growth, Jones entered the show business at a young age, captivating audiences with her unique appearance. Though labeled the infant Esau and later the bearded lady, Jones wasn't defined solely by her beard. She possessed a gracious demeanor and musical skills, and even fought against the demeaning term freak used for performers like her. Her story exemplifies the complexities of sideshow performers in that era. Elastic Man. Ehlers-Danlos syndrome is indeed the reason behind Felix Wehrle's remarkable abilities and stage persona. This genetic condition affects connective tissues, leading to joint hypermobility and, in some cases, unusually elastic skin. Wehrle's EDS allowed him to contort his body and stretch his skin in ways most people wouldn't be able to, making him a perfect fit for the role of the Elastic Man. He was performing and photographed as early as the 1880s. So, his fame as the Elastic Man likely predates 1902. Jojo the Dog-Faced Boy. Fedor Jevtichu, a performer known as Jojo the Dog-Faced Boy, captivated audiences in P.T. Barnum's sideshow. Historical records suggest he started his career in Europe with his father in the 1870s, and by the mid-1880s, he was a star attraction in Barnum's American show. Though some speculate his appearance may have subconsciously influenced the design of Chewbacca in Star Wars, there's no confirmed connection. Jevtichu's story highlights the captivating nature of sideshows, where performers with unique physical attributes like his found fame and opportunity. Daisy and Violet Hilton. Daisy and Violet Hilton, conjoined twins who shared a hip, were indeed thrust into the world of entertainment at a very young age. Records suggest they began touring exhibitions in Europe around 1911, when they were just 3 years old. Some sources even claim they were exhibited as early as 1909. Circa 1927 is closer to the time when their careers started to shift. By then, they had likely graduated from European exhibitions and were performing in the United States, perhaps even venturing into vaudeville or burlesque circuits alongside the traditional freak show appearances. The Camel Girl. Ella Harper's story is fascinating. Her rare condition, likely congenital genu recurvatum, which caused her knees to bend backwards, led her to become the star attraction of a touring freak show under the moniker The Camel Girl. Despite the exploitative nature of these shows, the $200 per week salary she earned in 1886 equivalent to roughly $6,800 today, was a significant sum. This financial security was likely a major reason for her participation. It's important to remember that opportunities for women, especially those with disabilities, were far more limited back then. Charles Sherwood Stratton. Charles Sherwood Stratton, better known as General Tom Thumb, presents a conflicted story within the realm of circus freaks. P.T. Barnum undeniably exploited Stratton's dwarfism, presenting him solely as a curiosity with the stage name General Tom Thumb, rather than a talented individual. However, Stratton's own journey transcended this limiting label. He developed skills in singing, dancing, and even horseback riding, becoming a respected performer rather than just an oddity. Prince Randian. Born without limbs due to a rare condition, Prince Randian from Guyana overcame a tough childhood. Despite his limitations, he became a star sideshow performer in the early 1900s. Randian amazed crowds with his skills, rolling cigarettes with his lips and lighting them with his tongue. He even painted and wrote with his toes. Though he faced challenges, Randian never gave up. His fame even landed him in movies, inspiring others. Susie the Elephant Girl. While records of a Susie the Elephant Girl, specifically from the 1920s, are elusive, medical conditions like ichthyosis, which causes rough and scaly skin, were often exploited in sideshows. Back then, people with ichthyosis were sometimes given insensitive nicknames like the Alligator Man or the Lizard Man to sensationalize their condition. The 1920s did see a documented case of Charlotte Reinhardt, also known as the world's ugliest woman, who braved public judgment to find work and financial security by exhibiting her severe form of ichthyosis in sideshows. Penguin Lady. Mignon, a woman born with short, flipper-like arms and legs, became famous as the Penguin Lady in sideshows. She wasn't just a sight to see, she played the marimba too. Mignon married, had a son, and even performed at big events. After retiring, her life became a mystery. Schlitzie the Pinhead. Schlitzie, a sideshow star from the 1900s, was a mystery. Born with a small head, he performed in circuses with made-up stories like being the last Aztec. Despite his challenges, Schlitzie was known for being funny and even acted in a movie. Though sideshows aren't popular anymore, Schlitzie's story shows how people can find happiness even when different. The Zebra Man 1946 was a banner year for Horace Ridler, the English freak and sideshow performer. Extensively tattooed from head to toe, he chose this year to truly embrace the outlandish. Shedding his birth name, Ridler transformed into the Great Omi, or the even more striking the Zebra Man. This dramatic makeover, with its black and white stripes mimicking a zebra, no doubt left audiences awestruck and solidified his place as a sideshow sensation. Balances piano and pianist. Circus strongwomen were incredible performers who displayed feats of strength that left audiences awestruck. Around 1920, one such strong woman captivated crowds by balancing a piano and pianist on her chest. These women defied stereotypes and challenged ideas about female strength. Half man, half woman. Josephine Joseph was a well-known circus sideshow performer in the early 20th century. Their claim to fame was their appearance, billed as being half male, half female. Josephine Joseph likely achieved this illusion through clever costuming, makeup, and possibly muscle definition techniques. While there is no medical evidence to support Josephine Joseph being intersex, their act was a popular one, even landing them a role in the 1932 cult classic film Freaks, The Ape Woman. Born in 1834 in Mexico, she had hypertrichosis, a condition causing hair growth over most of her body, and gingival hyperplasia, which thickened her lips and gums. Capitalizing on her appearance, she was exhibited in sideshows throughout the 19th century, under demeaning names like the Ape Woman or the Bear Woman. While audiences gawked, Pastrana was more than just a spectacle. She was intelligent, sang, and danced, showcasing talents often ignored by those who saw only her outward appearance.